I've been doing somehow a good research around 1S drones, the small ones that you can fly indoors, because I wanted to bring some to the shop. So I have a few of them in my hand and I want to present today what I think about them and which one I think it's the best out of the ones that I got here and I have tested here. Let me start with the Savage, Newbeedrone Savage. This one comes in two different versions, 1S and 2S. I got the 1S because, as I said, I was testing 1S drones. What I like the best about this drone is how quiet it is. The first time that I turned it on, I had to remove my goggles to make sure that the motors were spinning. This one is not as small as the other ones that I've been testing, but it's definitely quite fun to fly. Absolutely not to fly indoors, but when you're flying it outdoors, it flies smooth, it flies nicely. You can do tricks, you can do, some acrobatics and some things. So I like this one quite a lot to fly outdoors, but I have to say that the downside that I found with this drone was that I crashed it once and it broke. So I'm not sure if I just got bad luck with it or if they are fragile as like in general, but that's a concern for me. I have another one from Newbeedrone, which is the Humminbird. In the beginning, this one was the drone that I will be using every time that I wanted to clear a new trick, because it's very stable. It flies very, very stable. Actually, to the point that I had to go and check in BetaFlight a couple of times to make sure that I wasn't flying in any other mode that wasn't air mode. Something to point out is when I got this drone out of the box, one motor was broken. And as I was mentioned before, the Savage from Newbeedrone as well was very fragile. So I don't know if there is something there going on with Newbeedrone and the durability of their drones. I have found out two main downsides for this drone. Even though I like it a lot and I like how it flies and I trust it a lot if I'm trying to do something new, the battery lasts around 2.5 minutes with the 300 milliampere that they recommend, the Newbeedrone, which is not the end of the world, but I think it's a little bit low compared to some of the other ones that I have here. The second thing is that even though this one has been the one that I've been using the most, or one of the ones that I've been using the most, I think it already has a problem with the connector, because after a few times, or the last times that I've been flying, whatever battery I connect, it drains it in just like 20 seconds. I've been asking around some people that knows more about this kind of drones than me and some forums, and they're recommending me to change the power cable and check if with the new power cable the drone goes back to the regular times that it used to have in the beginning. And we will have to see. I haven't done it yet. I will do it and I will test it and see if that was the problem. Now I have here the UZ80, which was the first drone that I got in this batch and the one that started all this that I'm doing right now. The main reason why I got this one was because it was in a discount, and this drone comes in a kit that you have to build yourself. I have a video doing that I can put in the description and you can check it out. But the cool thing is that when I started to fly this one indoors, I had a lot of fun. This drone is fast, it flies very nicely, it's not loud, and when I opened the doors and the windows in my house, I could go out and in and go around, and I had so much fun that I decided to check again 1S drones to bring to my shop. The UZ80, it's a little bit bigger than the Humminbird or the Mobula 6 that I'm going to present as well, but that doesn't make a big difference. I think the biggest difference compared to those other ones is that this one doesn't have prop guards. And then when you are flying indoors, you have to be a little bit more careful when you're going through gaps and things like that, because if you hit something, it's just going to go down. There is nothing to protect the propellers, and they're gonna get broken pretty soon, and it's not going to have the same response that you have when you have a prop guard drone hitting walls and hitting objects inside your house. This one doesn't have a battery case or anything. You just hold it with a rubber band that you have, and that means also that you can connect different kind of batteries without thinking about the space or some kind of TPU case holding the battery. So I tested this drone with different range, 300, 450 and 550 milliampere, and the bigger you go, the more time that you have to fly. So there is no complaint at all with how this drone flies with a 550, for example, or a 450 milliampere. It goes up to 4.5 minutes or something around that, and you can still fly all over the place without changing a lot the flying characteristics of the drone, doing some tricks if you want, and it's, as I was saying, a lot of fun. If I have to mention one downside of this drone is that, at least here in Europe, it's not very popular. This brand is not very popular. So finding the spare parts of the drone is not simple. In my case, the drone came with one bad motor, and I was trying to find exactly the same motor in order to try and test it as it is, as originally intended. The motor was not easy to find in Europe, and actually I had to buy it from China. And I would say that that could be the potential downside of this drone. If you break something, if something breaks in the future, you might have to scramble a little bit in order to find the spare parts. But other than that, and the fact that it doesn't have prop guards to fly indoors, I love this little drone. It's pretty cool to fly. BetaFPV is very known by their Tinywhoops, and I got to test this one, the Cetus. It might not be the best comparison with the rest of what I have, because two things. One is that you cannot buy it if it's not on the kit that you can get with the goggles and the control. You cannot buy the drone by itself. The other thing is that the Cetus, the regular one, has brush motors. All the other drones that I've been talking about and I'm going to be talking about in this video are brushless. So the comparison might not be completely fair here, but anyway, I had it, I wanted to test it, and I wanted to see if you are getting one 1S drone, is this something that you want to have? This drone comes with two new flying modes, one that has some sensors which you can hold the altitude and do something like that, which honestly I found to be terrible. It didn't work for me. The drone flew away a couple of times and I had to disarm in the middle of the air to catch it back. So I don't see why someone will be paying to do that. And when it worked, it was like difficult to control, to move back and forth. It was not fun in that mode. The one thing that I like quite a lot of this drone was the camera. It was very clear, it looks nice, and I think it will be the best camera from everything that I have here that I'm testing right now. iFlight tends to do very good drones, and when they came out with the Baby Nazgul, I was very excited and thinking, wow, now I have something to look forward to. And I went and I bought it directly in order to test it together with the rest that I have here. And I have to say a couple of things. The build quality is excellent. It feels extremely solid, and I like the shape and I like the drone itself. The fact that the battery is on the top, I think is a plus, because I don't like to land on top of my batteries and damage them more. But this drone has a few things that I didn't like at all. The first one is the flying time. With the recommended 300 milliampere battery, I get something around 2 minutes flying softly, flying smoothly. If I push it and I try to do some acrobatics, the time goes down to 1.5 minutes. And for me, that's a very little time to be flying with a drone. The second thing that I didn't like that much about this drone is that the camera angle is fixed in an angle that is actually quite aggressive. So when you are going to fly this drone, you are forced to be a little bit fast, which means that to fly this drone indoors, it's very complicated. So this is a drone that is more to fly outside, outdoors, to train your tricks, your acrobatics and these kind of things. But then if you think about it, and if the drone is made to be flying outside, to be training some freestyle moves, I wouldn't be choosing a 1S drone to do that. There are much better drones in the same price range that can be 2S, 3S, doing much more, and that will help you much more train your freestyle move. The other thing of this drone is that actually this one has a 50 milliwatts VTX, and I thought it was gonna get me better video than the other ones that has just 25 milliwatts, but it was actually the contrary. This one, I don't know if it's the antenna placement on the drone or what, but it didn't give me the same kind of quality that the other drones gave me when it comes to the VTX. So that's another point that I don't know why, if it's 50 milliwatts, the video was much worse than the other ones. I'm not sure, but it was like that. The Mobula 6 is the Tinywhoop that a lot of people call the best Tinywhoop in this category. If you go to the internet, you're going to get the advice of having one of these ones to fly indoors. This drone flies very well. It's not as stable as the Humminbird, but it's pretty stable. It flies fast, not as fast as the UZ80, but it's pretty good. It has prop guards, which means that indoors you're going to be protected against walls and objects. And the best thing of it is the price. It's the cheapest one of the whole bunch. It comes with 4 batteries included. So it's very worth it to get this one when you want to have something indoors. You can fly with it, you can train your different moves, you can do different things. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about this drone. I've been flying it around the house and bashing it around, and it's still alive, it's not broken, it flies well. I don't feel any difference from the day one and today, even though I have flown maybe 100 batteries with this drone, and it's still flying very well, and I'm having as much fun as in the beginning. If I have to say something about this one, it might be that it has yellow, but I mean, 1S drones with those micro cameras that they have, I'm not expecting a fabulous image, right? So yes, I mentioned the Cetus having the best camera and the clearest one. This one is still good, but as soon as you go out or even inside, you get kind of a bad yellow with this drone. As you can see, I don't think you can go wrong with any of these drones that I have presented today. I think it's a lot more what's available in your area and what do you want to do with the drone. If something, I will keep away from the Cetus from BetaFPV, because I don't really know, it's a little bit weird. In fact, BetaFPV just launched the Cetus Pro, where they changed the motors from brush to brushless, which I guess it's the main complaint that a lot of people has, and the one thing that will put the drone in the same category as many of these other ones that I have presented today. If I have to recommend one out of the bunch that I tested today, I would think that the Mobula 6 is the one that is more worth having. Price was good, it comes with batteries in your box, it flies very well, it has prop guards and is protected. And up until today, even though I have crashed it many times, I haven't broken it, and it's still flying, and I'm still having a lot of fun with it. I hope you enjoyed this video and hope to see you soon. Thank you.